Hello, everybody. Hi. Okay, I'd like to introduce to the stage Carrie Drinkwine, the founder of the Institute of Regenerative Health and creator of a cellular-first approach to healing focused on restoring bioelectric charge and cellular communication. Welcome.
Thank
Come
you.
on board.
So today we're going to be talking about the body from the electric perspective, as well as how to understand how to decode detox, because there's so much information out in the biohacking industry and the health industry in general. So it's helpful to sort through the noise. And just so you know who I am, like she mentioned, I'm the owner and the founder of the Institute of Regenerative Health. We're a global education school. We're licensed and accredited through the International Practitioners of Holistic Medicine, and we train people how to essentially become their own internal doctor. So the people that come to our school is people that want to be sovereign over their own health and never outsource their own health ever, right? So anybody can come do this program for themselves, or they can build a career with it and become a certified regenerative health practitioner. And that vision for me really came from my own illness. So when I was 30 years old, I was diagnosed with early onset lupus, Hashimoto, fibromyalgia, and unexplained infertility. And that was a little over 12 years ago. I am now 42 years old. I have no diseases at all, no medications, no diagnoses, and I've had 2 children since that infertility diagnosis. So it's really my passion to share that suffering is optional, and we really are designed to heal ourselves. And our bodies know how to do this, but it's when we aren't in the right internal environment, then the body can't heal itself. When we don't have the right voltage, then the body can't heal itself. So it looks, thank you so much. So this is a little bit about what I do. Institute of Regenerative Health is the primary school. I also have Wise Wellness Holistic Clinic. We work in person in Minneapolis, Minnesota, as well as online. There will be more locations opening soon. And I also run the Regenerative Soul Institute outer world. All right. What I see is 3 paths of choice in basically, I'm sure you know, we've all that there's 3 paths, and I think they're great paths, but everybody has to have their own choice of what's right for them. So path number 1, that an option is to go Western medicine, to go allopathic, to get a diagnosis and then be prescribed a treatment. There are no cures in allopathic medicine, but there are treatment-based therapies, which may be right for your 80-year-old grandpa or somebody that absolutely needs insulin. There's many Western medicine approaches that do save lives, right? So definitely not an anti-Western approach, but I also believe in preventative medicine, and there's a time and a place for interventive medicine. I'm a survivor of many multiple surgeries that have saved my life, so I also have a deep gratitude for Western medicine as well. And I think it's important that we understand the time and the place of when we can have health sovereignty and when we also need to outsource that help. The path that I see like this middle road of biohacking, naturopathy, kind of Eastern philosophy where you can use herbalism, you can use biohacks, you can use red light therapy. And what these things are doing is helping your body manage the symptoms naturally. And that's really beneficial. And so some people that don't prefer pharmaceuticals that have side effects, they can use something more middle of the road. But that is actually not regenerative health. It's helpful, but it's actually not getting to the root cause and healing the reason the problem is there to begin with. So the third path that I see is regenerative health, which is getting to the root cause of what's happening and healing it at the cellular level so the problem goes away for good. And that means that the supplements also go away for good. Because when you've healed the problem, you shouldn't have to be on a lifelong supplement. So these are the philosophies that really govern regenerative health. I would say we don't suppress my philosophies is if you take it, you won't make it. So for example, if I'm taking a synthetic thyroid medication, I'm taking a synthetic T4. T4 is the thyroid hormone that your body produces. If I take that, my body will not make more. And the reason is because if it does, I will slip into Graves' disease or hyperactivity, and you can have a heart attack. So the body is always working on a biofeedback system. If it sees T4 present, whether made by thyroid or taken synthetically, it will not make its own. So we are suppressing our body through taking medications and having all this symptomology. awaken the body's wisdom to heal itself. Vagus nerve work really helping the body repair itself. And then I also believe in repairing the gut lining. So gut is the barrier between the external world, and you will actually leak. Thank you so much.
Lovely. Okay. So, repairing the gut lining. So, you want to think of your gut as like the barrier between the inside world and the outside world. Anything you're eating or drinking, if the gut junctions are not tight, you're actually leaking into the lymphatic and the immune system, causing a reaction in the body. We also work on releasing infections and toxins. So there's multiple things that cause morbidity or dis-ease in the body, and this is a large one. But I'm going to be talking about the perspective of we can't just be chasing, eliminating these things. If we change the voltage in our body and we change the environment in our body, these things never happen. Okay, so we rebuild the microbiome, we reprogram our rhythm, our circadian health, our nature connection, we process emotions. One of my favorite sayings on the physical and the emotional and energetic level is what we don't eliminate, we accumulate. And so when we can't process something and we store it and store it and store it, it bioaccumulates literally at the cellular level. And then this is your person that goes from 0 to 10 in 5 seconds. You go from calm as a cucumber to angry, right? Or you go from I'm totally fine, I've had no health problems, to I have so many health problems. Has anybody ever experienced that? And it's because we're suppressing symptoms for too long. So, and then the last one I'm going to talk about a lot: clean the cell, charge the cell, and repair the communication. These are the foundations of vitality. So we are actually electric before we are chemical. And we have around 35 trillion cells in our body and 2 major fluids. We have multiple fluids in our body, but 2 major fluids govern the majority of the processes, and that's our blood system. I like to think of the blood as the kitchen. So the blood is what's feeding all of your glands, your organs, your tissues, and cells. So everything that you eat is either bringing liquid nectar life into your blood, or it's bringing garbage and trash into the cells, okay? And then we have the lymph system. This is the bathroom of the body. It's how you flush the toilet. And so we always know I always say you wouldn't poop in your kitchen, would you? Nope, probably not. So the lymph system's job is to move around the body and clean up all the waste, all of the excess debris, chemicals, synthetics, anything. And then it takes that trash to the lymph nodes. We have lymph nodes throughout the whole body. The lymph nodes have macrophages inside of them that actually break down the waste and then carry them out. A lot of the waste is eliminated through the kidneys. 1/3 of our lymphatic waste is eliminated through the bowels. So if you don't poop at least twice a day, you are lymphatically backed up. At least 30% of your body will be backed up. And then we look at the lymph system is what's taking out the trash. It's the sewer system of the body. So if your lymphatic system is backed up, I want you to think of a river versus a swamp, right? You look at a swamp, you're like, not getting in that water. But a really clear lake, you'd probably jump in. Now, this is what's happening in a dis-ease state, is people's lymph system is becoming like a swamp because the elimination pathways are closed. So the kidneys filter all your lymphatic waste out through the urine. And this is something that a lot of people don't talk about. It's widely known in the field of nephrology. I've actually worked with a couple of doctors in nephrology, and they're like, oh yeah, we know you're supposed to have this. This is unfiltering kidneys. If this is seen in nephrology after people have had anesthesia, they call this dumb pee, which means that this person's going to have a hard time regenerating because their pee is clear. A lot of times we're taught clear urine is good. Now, I'm not talking about the color. You don't want dark urine. Dark urine means you're dehydrated. But you can have a nice yellow color, a nice translucent color, but there should be sediment in it. This is actually pictures, that one's actually mine, and these are some others from Dr. Robert Morse. And so these are pictures of filtering kidneys. So you see how the color is nice and neutral here, but there's flakes and sediment in it. That means what's in is coming out. You have excess urea, nitrogen, acids, excess salts, all these things that the lymphatic system is saying, hey, I can't use that. I've got to eliminate it. It should be in your pee. So the one way you can check this is in the morning,
take a sample of your urine. Do not drink any liquid for 12 hours. So 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., whatever works for you. It does not matter if you go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. That's okay. I just want to see what your body's doing 12 hours away from the last time you consumed. If you have flakes in your urine or even strands, you're filtering a little bit. If you have a lot of flakes, you're filtering very well. When you're sick, you will see a lot of sediment, meaning there's an infection that's being released by the body. Just the presence of sediment does not mean infection, it means filtration. Excess sediment along with symptoms means basically an infection is being released from the body. So ideal range of your urine is a 6 to 6.5 pH. Most people are actually way too alkaline in their urine, and their saliva is too acidic. So our saliva should be alkaline, our urine should be slightly acidic. And that's how we have proper enzymes in our mouth. The moment that our mouth becomes too acidic, we actually don't have pitolin and ptyalin, which are the enzymes to break down starches, carbohydrates, and all of our foods. Proteins actually do not get digested in our mouth because we don't have the enzymes as a primate species. Your elimination pathways are one of the most important missing links in health and vitality overall. So if your kidneys aren't filtering, what's going to happen? The lymph is going to back up, and that lake now becomes a swamp, and now you have waste recirculating. I like to think of a bath analogy. Like I put my kids in a clean bath after they came back from the park. The water is all muddy and gross, and I take them out. What do? Pull the drain, clean out the bath. But if that drain is clogged and the kids keep getting back in the dirty bath, they never get clean, right? So the body can't eliminate the waste. So this is the order in which I work. So we have to have the colon draining every single day. If we don't drain the colon every day, again, what you don't eliminate, you accumulate. The next is the liver and the bile ducts, because the liver is responsible for filtering all of the body's blood, as well as getting rid of heavy metals, toxins, parasites, pesticides, and forever chemicals. The kidneys filter all the lymphatic waste along with the colon, 2/3, 1/3. And then the organs and tissues also eliminate waste. So I always say, just like you eat and poop, your cells do the same. So your cells actually discard their waste. It goes into the body, the lymph system picks it up, brings it to the proper elimination channels. So this has to be taken care of. If somebody's putting you on a detox and they're not addressing this order or these elimination pathways, you're going to have a miserable experience. You're going to have Herxheimer, you're going to have headaches, you're going to have brain fog, you're going to have vomiting, nausea, and that is a sign of the flood that's happening. The body, when you need a detox, your body's already overwhelmed. So the last thing you should be doing is pouring more overwhelm into overwhelm, right? You need to drain the terrain first, and then we're going to go into this next piece, which is get the energy high enough in the body for the body to actually detox itself. So what is running this is all very anatomical. We're talking anatomy and physiology, very physical, but what's running all this? It's the mitochondria. So the mighty mitochondria is what's running every tissue and cell. There's actually a Nobel Prize that was just awarded for understanding that all dis-ease starts at the mitochondrial level. So if you want to heal anything in your body, heal the mitochondria. Now, what do they run on? The mitochondria actually run on electricity and light. So biophotonic light emission is what the mitochondria run on. So the body is best understood as a bioelectric system and a field rather than just a biochemical machine. Now, most of what you hear in functional medicine and naturopathy is get your bloods, get your labs, get your hormones, right? How many people have had all that focus on there? How many of you have had labs done and then they say everything's normal, but you have a laundry list of symptoms, right? Yeah, that's because the lymph's job is to keep everything out of the blood. So that means the lymph is still doing its job, but there's a lot of symptoms. I'll get out of your way so you can read that. So every function in the body is driven by electrical signals, by frequency, and by biophotonic light. So what you're experiencing when you have symptoms is that there's low light in the body, which means there's low communication. Biophotonic light emission is what creates the talking between the cells. Now, the next step to that is we need to have voltage present. We need to have enough energy to carry out the conversation or the communication from the cell. If we don't have enough, if the cell says, hey, I need you to make more T4, and then the signal gets there, and then the signal says, but I don't have enough energy to make T4, guess what? We don't make T4. So we need biophotonic light, and we need voltage in order for this to work, rather than just chemical reactions. We are actually electric before we're chemical. So if we have a biochemical imbalance, it's because first we had an electrical deficiency. So you will never have a chemical imbalance until you're electrically inefficient or deficient. So every cell in the body generates an electrical potential much like a tiny battery. So this is electrical charges maintained through like an ion exchange. Now I'm not going to get deep into the science, but I wanted you to see this. And this is potassium, calcium, magnesium, sodium. These are the things that run, it's called the potassium-sodium pump. It works in the kidneys and the adrenals. And so these are foundational minerals that are essential for your life force, which is why we have to eat our life force. So the cell membrane actually acts as a capacitator, which is storing and regulating all electrical charge and cellular communication, as well as your overall metabolic function. And the nervous system operates through electrical impulses. Your nervous system is receiving millions of bits of information every second. It's doing proprioception and interoception, meaning it's scanning the internal environment of the body and it's scanning the external environment of the body to decide how it needs to act or react to your environment. So these signals need voltage in order to happen. So we have speeds, you guys, that go up to 250 miles per hour with bioelectric conductivity, which is wild to think about. Now, the human body generates an electromagnetic field with the heart producing the strongest measurable bioelectric field, and it expands several feet around your entire body. This is your essentially in quantum physics, what's called your toroidal field. Now, the brain, the heart, and the mitochondria are acting as bioelectric generators. So all of this is influencing how coherent my cells are. Has anybody ever felt cellular chaos? Like internally, you're so stressed, you can feel your cells like, ah, right? Yeah, you can feel this is incoherence at the cellular level. And so that's why stress is such a killer. It literally creates incoherence, deficiency of electricity in the body. So this is the field. Your toroidal field is what is interacting with the Earth's natural electromagnetic field. That's why earthing, right, getting bare feet to the ground is so incredibly important. Maybe I shouldn't have taken off my shoe. But this is what's going on with the Schumann resonance when we're helping regulate our circadian rhythms. So sunlight is so important. Feet to the ground is so important. Being in nature is so important to really reconnect the body. I'm not going to go through all this, but I wanted you guys to have this because I'm going to send my slideshow out. So you don't have to read, you can read through this later. But biophotons are essentially ultra weak electromagnetic signals. You'll see under a microscope, biophotonic light is like a little light emission coming off of every cell. If every cell has light and the cells are spread out, meaning they're not clumped together and stacked in rouleau, you're going to have a strong communication. When they're stacked in rouleau, the cells are sticky, they have low light, they have low communication, they have low nutrient absorption, and they have low hydration. So we want the blood flowing, the cells moving, and we want the body really interacting. This is cell-to-cell signaling. So the light emission is essentially what is allowing the cells to see as well as sense the environment and basically any data that the body needs to pick up and transmute. So mitochondria are actually light and frequency generators. So we think, oh, we eat and that makes mitochondria's energy. It's actually glucose plus oxygen equals ATP. We learned that in high school in the Krebs cycle. That is true, but it's just a minute fraction of it. Before we actually get to glucose plus oxygen making ATP, we need biophotonic light that is then sent to communication, that is then activated in enzyme. Enzymes are the catalysts of life. Those enzymes actually have to then activate what's called cytochrome C oxidase, and that then has to take glucose plus oxygen to make ATP. So if you don't have light, you can eat all the protein you want, all the things you want, but you aren't getting anywhere down this ATP chain. How many of you have been like, I'm eating good, why am I so tired, right? This is low biophotonic light emission. So lots of things you can do, infrared light, sunlight, quantum coherence, etc. So I'm going to just go through this real fast. And what we have here is, this is what I want you to pay attention to, is this bottom line. So our cells, just for me to be standing up here talking to you, eating, drinking, breathing, I need -20 to -25 millivolts at all times to maintain charge, okay? And so this is really important. And this will be sent out again. I'll send it to Rohini. She has it, and she'll send it in the recap notes. But -20 to 25 millivolts is basic charge for my body. I can eat, I can drink, I can breathe, I can sleep. Once I get down, if I want to repair something in my body, say I have an injury, like maybe you fell and you broke your wrist, okay? cancel, that's not going to happen to you, but just giving you an example. Say you did, her wrist would need to hit negative 50 millivolts in order for her wrist to heal. If you're a slow healer, this means you have low voltage. So the body's just taking a long time. And what happens is the body starts robbing from Peter to pay Paul, is borrowing voltage from other areas to heal an injury. So I recently had a pretty intense event where I had a near-death experience, and my body borrowed all the voltage from the rest of my body to heal this area. And what happened is all my circuits shut off except for my brain and my heart. Why? I needed the voltage to heal the issue, right? It was from a surgery. Don't worry, I'm totally okay. But the voltage was taking up so much energy. So we need negative 50 millivolts to actually heal. We need negative 70 millivolts to get to stem cell level. This is where you're building new cells, building new tissues, and you're I always say regenerating the issues in the tissues. Once we fall below here, negative 15 to negative 20 millivolts, this is when we have dis-ease, autoimmune, and cancer. The cancer is nothing more than a cell that has lost its charge to the level of going, I don't know how to repair myself. I'm in the world alone. It goes to single cell eukaryote state and just says duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. So what does it do? We call it metastasization, but it's just replication of its damaged cell over and over, because that's its survival mechanism is, I don't know how to fix, so I just recreate myself over and over. When we raise the voltage in the body, we repair the problem. We repair the cancer, because once it realizes, oh, I have enough energy to go through NRF2 pathway and regenerate myself, then it does. Oh, I'm a damaged cell. I should go through apoptosis. You always have cells dying all the time, and it's very good. Out with the old, in with the new, right? So when a body has enough voltage, it recognizes when a cell is damaged, and it sends it through the process of apoptosis, and it births a new cell. So I want to talk about the 7 main causes of disease. What do you think the 7 main causes of disease are? Someone give me a few things in the audience here. Stress, yep. Lack of sleep, yep. Yep. So somebody said inflammation. Inflammation, or inflammaging as people call it, is a result of some of the things you're going to see up here. You don't have inflammation unless your terrain is out of balance. These are really good answers. So here's actually the list. Number 1 is dehydration. Very first thing, you will start to feel tired when you're dehydrated. Whenever you think you're hungry, first drink a glass of water, living spring water, okay? Dehydration, the reason why that's number 1 is because water is not just hydration and lubrication for our cells. It's actually electrical charge. I'm not going to go deep into water because we don't have the time, but basics are your cells are what's called hydrophilic surfaces, which are water-loving surfaces. And structured water, which is known as easy or fourth-phase water, will attach to the cell and charge the cell. It goes a proton wire across the cell. Everyone's drinking. I love it. So dehydration will start to bring your voltage down. Infections and parasites. These infections and parasites will feed off of your nutrition. Parasites love minerals. Low iron, if you have low iron, you have parasites. 10 out of 10 times, it's never a question. The iron is being stored. It's also a problem called nutrient cycling, where the body is brilliant and it knows parasites thrive on iron. So what the body will do is pull the iron out of the blood, store it in the liver. So you'll have ferritin scores that look fine, but iron that's low in the blood. And they'll say, oh, get on an iron supplement, and your iron's barely getting up. You're actually making your problem worse, and you're feeding your parasites. So you should definitely stop doing that. And what we see here is the nutrient cycling is happening because the body is reserving. It says, no, I don't want to feed these parasites. And then you keep adding to the problem. So you need to defungal and deworm anytime you have low iron. Anemia is directly related to parasites. Toxins and pesticides, heavy metals, these are the things that are recirculating in the body. I always say where heavy metals go, parasites flow. Heavy metals eat up parasites. They actually eat up about 600 times the amount. You'll find 600 times the amount of heavy metals in a parasite than you do in the human. So there's actually a symbiotic beneficial relationship there. So if you're doing a parasite cleanse, you actually need a heavy metal cleanse first, where the parasites will keep coming back because your environment is inviting them, okay? So if you don't change the terrain, if you're making a good habitable home for parasites, they're going to keep coming to the dinner table. Chronic stress, you nailed that one. And then because it puts your body into sympathetic fight or flight and you can't function. And then emotions and trauma. Nobody's really talking about this, right? Nobody, when you go to the doctor, what do? You check a whole long check sheet of all of your symptoms, and then you check your genetic history, and now you go with a diagnosis and a prescription. But they don't ever ask you, how are you doing at home? How's your work? What's going on in your marriage, right? So I guarantee you 10 out of 10 patients would start sobbing right there. Most of our illness is an energetic imbalance first. There's an emotional or energetic imbalance that then impacts our biology. I always say your biography becomes your biology. And so we need to really honor this space of emotions and trauma. And the last one is scars. Scars suck up so much voltage because it's an internal adhesion. And if you think of a matchbook, at like the loose matches, and you throw them on the ground, they're going to be all scrambled up. That's what a scar looks like inside the body, just Band-Aids everywhere. And what we need to do is get those adhesions to go straight so that energy can flow through them again. Otherwise, it blocks all the energy, and it all gets locked up in there. The lymph, the voltage gets locked, and it cannot move through the body. So we'll have lymphatic pooling. We'll have all this energy going towards a scar instead of the rest of the body. So we have to heal the issues in the tissues. So the body's about 99% molecular water. I'm not going to go into this. This is going to be in your slideshow, okay? So the exclusion zone water is incredible, and it forms a crystalline state that plays a critical role in our cell communication. So what it does is it maintains our cellular voltage. It enables biophotonic communication. It supports ATP, and it's very essential for detox. So I'm going to give you this chart here. This is a little bit surprising. I always lose quite a few friends when I put this one up here. I'm not going to lie. It's okay. I still love you. But this is fresh raw fruits and vegetables are the highest angstroms of energy of any food on the planet. One of my favorite sayings is the higher you eat from the ground, the longer you stay out of the ground. Okay? So remember that. Because fruit is vitality, it's life force, it's sucking up minerals from the earth, enzymes, biophotonic sunlight, right? The process of photosynthesis, water. One of my sayings is eat your water. And you may be like, how? Fruits, berries, melons, watermelon, mangoes, celery, right? Add it on. Your water, your diet should be hydrating. It should be vital. It should be alive. When you think of the produce section, it's so pretty. It's so vibrant when you go into the grocery store, and then you go past the meat section. It's like, ooh, quick, right? Like it's dead. There is no vitality in it. So I always say if you're going to eat animals, you also need to eat a lot of the top of the angstroms to balance yourself, to make sure you're getting enough angstroms of energy, okay? So I'm going to keep rolling here. But if you look, when we get to cooked meats actually have 0 angstroms of energy. This is always very surprising because we are focused on protein, and it's the wrong focus. So protein is not where we get our energy. I've actually never had a patient in 13 years that's been protein deficient, ever. But I have everybody that's energy deficient, mineral deficient, enzyme deficient, phytonutrient deficient. At my booth, we have scans for this. We can tell you how well you're doing. And the average human needs 65 angstroms of energy just to operate. At 4875, you're in cancer zone. So we need to eat for energy, not for protein. So we need to eat the life force, okay? So what it comes down to is one factor. Is your food electron donating or electron stealing? Are you adding to your bank account or subtracting from your bank account or staying at neutral? I really like adding to my bank account. It's my favorite thing to do on many levels, right? Okay, so here's some foods. This is the pH. Now, this is potential parts hydrogen, essentially is what pH means, but really all pH is doing is measuring the amount of electrons in a liquid. That's all it's doing. So these ones that have a higher pH have higher electrons. These ones that have a lower pH have 0 electrons. So they're proton dominant, electron deficient. This is electron dominant and more proton deficient. So if somebody's in a dis-ease state, they're electron deficient. We explain it as pH, as acid versus alkaline, but it's not explained properly. There are no alkaline foods. Foods are alkaline forming. After they're digested, they leave behind an alkaline ash or an acid ash. And the ash it leaves behind is full of magnesium, calcium, potassium, sodium, or it's leaving behind nitrogen, phosphorus, and sulfur. So these are nitrogen, phosphorus, and sulfur, and these are magnesium, sodium, calcium. All right. Here's the emotions. We have this at my booth. You guys can come take a look. Institute of Regenerative Health is like straight in the middle, back wall. And we can actually check all your polarities, all your meridians. And so we have front and back. The gallbladder is resentment, anger, repressed sadness as well. Anxiety is sympathetic, parasympathetic. Grief is the lung and the large intestine. Abandonment is the heart and the small intestine. Worry is the spleen and the stomach. Fear is the kidneys and the bladder. And liver is anger and repressed sadness is again. These will knock out your voltage. How many of you have had a breakup or a job loss? All of us, right? What happens? I can't get off the couch. I can't eat. I'm so emotional. I'm sick to my stomach, right? So what happens is the emotions start governing the biology. And when you don't work through this stuff, you drain the voltage and the polarities flip on their head. And so now your circuitry is not working. Here's another one. You can take a look. And this is, I want to talk about this. So these are the scans we're doing at my booth right now. We can actually tell you the level of biophotonic light in your body, the level of antioxidants and carotenoids in your body. So the lower is, this is low voltage. This is danger zone. You want to be here. 50,000 units of energy means I know how to repair myself. If I get in trouble, I'm okay. I was here. 87,000 was my score before I went to Peru for a surgery. Thank God. I ended up developing a deadly bacterial infection that almost took my life. And I healed it all naturally. I had the best doctors, the best support team, the best friends there for me. And I healed it naturally. But guess what? When I got home from that trip, I was right here. I went from 87,000 to 30,000. What would have happened if I went on that trip here? I'd be dead. I'd be gone. I didn't have enough voltage. I had enough voltage to borrow from. So my body had savings, and that's what kept me alive. And so we can scan you. So this is my whole philosophy. Charge the cell, clean the cell, repair the communication. When you do this, everything in your body is resolved. You don't have to target, I need NAD, I need this, I need that, I need an IV drip. No, you need voltage, and you need to clean up the internal environment, and then everything cleans itself. Okay, so here I have a couple options for you. This is closing out here. If you want to become a practitioner, meaning you want to be your own doctor for yourself, for your family, and maybe build a clinical practice, we are the largest online global regenerative health school in the world right now that is just now taken up global accreditation in 2 global accreditations, the International Practitioners of Holistic Medicine. We are globally accredited. The second is the IC. We have the International Practitioners of Holistic Therapies have actually given us our very own module, and they've coined us as the owners of the regenerative method worldwide. And so this is incredible. If you guys want to become practitioners, it's normally $20,000. We're doing a Dubai special at $12,500. It also comes with the full business in a box, which means you get to sell 20 pre-built courses as your own and build your online practice. We have practitioners all over the globe, and 570 and growing strong. This is our website if you want to learn more about our programs. I have a longevity program coming up if you want to reverse your biological age. Our last year, we had 77 women do our biological program. The average woman reversed her biological age by 8 years in a 4-month program. So really incredible, and we do tests before and after, and this is what's included. You can learn all this at my booth. And then last but not least, this is at my booth. So if you want to come and get your voltage done, we're doing $450 sessions with the blueprint. It's $350 plus the $97 blueprint, all for $50. So we're actually scanning you, telling you your score. We're checking all your polarities, that emotion chart that you saw, telling you which ones are on, which ones are off. We don't just send you away with problems, we fix it. We flip your polarities back over, and then we reboot the vagus nerve and put charge and voltage back into you. And then we send you the longevity blueprint to help you on your path. So that's all I have to say today. Thank you so much for your time, for your help. I hope this was informational, and we'll see you at the booth.